5 Live Formula One.
Hello and welcome to Silverstone. Formula One is back at the home of British motorsport, and it is the most glorious day here. And as I look down the paddock, it is absolutely heaving, and it's only Thursday as we are gearing up for the British Grand Prix. And I'm standing outside the reigning world champions hospitality unit, McLaren, and I'm joined by the BBC's F1 correspondent, Andrew Benson. The paddock is looking resplendent, isn't it, Andrew? I quite like Silverstone in the sunshine.
It's real British summertime, isn't it, Rosanna? It's lovely, and Silverstone's like nowhere else when the weather's like this. But it's like nowhere else when the weather's not like this as well. But it's a real carnival atmosphere here.
And it is wonderful to be back racing here. And the reason we're standing outside McLaren is because, Andrew, you were given some time with the reigning world champion, Lando Norris. You sat down with him to talk about all things, really. But how did you find the reigning world champion? What spirit is in coming into this home race weekend for him?
Well, I think positively philosophical would be the way to put it, probably. Obviously, it's not been the best start to his title defence year, not the title defence that he would have wanted. He's not been able to defend his title realistically. The car's not been quick enough. And he talked about that. We got like 25 minutes or something with him, which is very generous of McLaren. Unusual to get that much time with a Formula One driver, especially on the eve of their home race and the world champion. We talked about a wide range of topics, but he was very open on all of them. And he's an open guy, isn't he, Rosanna? And it was very refreshing and very enjoyable to do the interview.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. Let's hear Lando Norris then, your reigning world champion, talking with Andrew coming into his home race weekend.
So, Lando, thanks very much for joining us.
No problem.
First of all, I just wanted to ask you, how are you feeling about the year so far? You came into it as world champion. Perhaps it's not gone quite as well as you would have wanted in that context. So how would you sum it up?
Yeah, I don't think there's one word that probably sums it up. I think it's been a year where, of course, expectations were high from my side, from us as a team, rightly so. But I think it's been more difficult than we would have wanted, for sure. From a power unit side of things and from a car side of things. But we're in a position that is hard to not be in, considering we had to put so many eggs in the basket of last year, which I wouldn't change for the world. So I kind of, I'm happy I have the pain of this year for the glory of last year, but we're working hard to change things around. So it's just after 2 great years. You, of course, hope to continue that tradition, but so far not to be.
So it's what you're saying is the struggles that McLaren are having are basically a direct consequence of pushing hard to win the championship last year, and with a big rule change, you've not been able to get as much into this year's car as you would have wanted to. So,
pretty much. Yeah. It's not just like that's just a flat out yes. We still put a lot of effort into making sure we're ready for this year, and we're not as ready as what we would have liked to have been, and as strong as we would have liked to have been, but certainly a good amount of trying to win the championship as a constructor and as a team last year, as a constructor and as a driver last year, required a continued amount of dedication on the car of last season, when just more effort in other teams that are doing well now, they just would have shifted more people, more focus would have gone to this year. So it's just the price you pay in a very competitive world against extremely good teams and clever people. And as soon as you're just a little bit more focused on last season, especially in such a big transition of regulation, you pay the price pretty quickly.
All the same, are you enjoying being world champion?
Of course. I mean, it's I'm still able to probably smile more. I'm definitely able to smile more now, even through the tough times, because of last season. So I'm still basking in the moments of last season, but. Every driver's in it now because they want to win now. I'm not going to be happy of finishing 5th, 6th, 4th the whole season, So I enjoy winning. I want to return to winning, and that's my goal currently.
So nothing's changed for you? The same desire, same motivation. What about externally? Has being world champion had any impact on you?
None at all. Honestly, I think it's more how much you choose to change it yourself more than how much the outside world changes. I think, of course, certain things from the exterior change in terms of publicity and exposure, fans, how much more you get noticed in the streets, simple things like that. But my life hasn't changed because I didn't want it to change. I think if it changes, it's because people choose for it to change. I don't want it to be like, I'm very happy. I travel with my friends. I go do amazing things. I live a very good life already. So there's no reason for it to be, and I don't want it to be. So I'm very happy, and I'm still working hard currently to try and just return to winning races, get the team back to where we want to be. Simple as that.
And this is your first British Grand Prix as world champion.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
Very excited. I mean, I'm excited just because obviously last year was a good British Grand Prix. So to return as the winner of the British Grand Prix, but also as champion, it's like the one place that really makes you feel like you belong, more than anywhere else. I feel like I belong in McLaren. I feel like I belong in Formula One. But when you go to your home race, and I'm sure it's the same for every driver, you really feel a sense of belonging because of the fans and the kind of love you get, the support, the cheers, the T-shirts, all of it, and my own grandstand, like all of those things make you like, damn, this is pretty amazing. So looking forward for a various amount of reasons, but the fact is just the British Grand Prix. It's one of the best races of the season, but then it's my home race, it's our team's home race. I'm champion. Like there's just a lot of beautiful things to look forward to. It's for me the most enjoyable, fun, and it will be the race that I will miss the most one day. When I retire in many years' time, this will be the thing I miss, is the fans, that kind of feeling of trying to provide for them in terms of giving them a win and providing for your country. Like that's a pretty awesome thing. So I think I'm gonna miss that. Therefore, I know I need to really take it all in as much as possible.
And of course, you're one of quite a few British drivers, and you've already been part of an all-British podium this year with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. Would it mean anything extra to you for that to repeat itself at Silverstone, or are you only in it for yourself, really?
I'm fighting for myself, but I think that's a huge bonus, is when you have 3 Brits on the podium. I think that's a pretty awesome thing. I want to be the best of any driver, not just of the Brits or anything. So I don't mind who I share a podium with. I try and beat everyone, but the fact you can have 3 Brits up there, I think is a very good thing. Just show that there can be 3 Brits on a podium. First of all, there's potential for more, but there's just no space, So I think it's awesome that we have so many Brits in Formula One and so many incredible drivers as well. But the fact I got to just share that little moment there, I think is very special in Barcelona. But I think that would be pretty amazing, and I think for the country and for the Brits, it would be awesome if we had it here too.
And does racing at Silverstone have any special effect on you? I mean, Nigel Mansell used to say it gave him a second a lap, which most people would poo-poo
I need a
bit,
second a lap right now. I don't know if it's a second a lap, but it's certainly, you could just go in with more energy. You go in and like I said, you feel like you want to do something for them. You don't want to let them down. You want to give them something to cheer about. So that certainly makes you just try that 1-2% more. I wish it's a second a lap, but it's certainly I don't know. You'd say a 10th here or there, and a few decisions that you make that you're like, I'm going to go for it. You commit a bit more in certain times, just because you feel like that's your moment to shine. So I think there's certainly a small benefit, but a second, that's I would love if that was to be true.
You have had some good results this year. You probably should have won Miami.
Yep.
And you were pretty close in Spain.
Yep.
Podium okay, but you were pretty close to the win as well,
sure,
in terms of time. How would you expect things to go at Silverstone? I
think we've been proving lately. Of course, I think Monaco is just the outlier. So get rid of Monaco, and of course, just the misfortune we had in Canada. It's still not been that bad. I think just the expectation's so high that a third, a fourth, a fifth is it's kind of frowned upon in a way. So it's not been bad otherwise. And Oscar finished 18 seconds or 19 seconds off the lead, which is not. It's a big gap. It's not dreadful in Austria. Obviously, I think we're less than that or similar amount in Barcelona. Should have won in Miami. So it's not like we're having a dreadful season. It's been dreadful for one reason: reliability and issues. That's been the biggest letdown of the whole year. But apart from that, the pace has not been terrible. And I think we can still go into weekends now with some confidence that we can have a good weekend. And that can mean a podium. it means extracting absolutely everything and being perfect the whole weekend, but it's possible. And every track's just very different. I think you also see how much other teams are fluctuating in terms of performance. Ferrari obviously in winning Barcelona and struggling in Red Bull Ring. Mercedes obviously fluctuating a little bit. It's Red Bull now coming back into the game. So I think it's hard to predict these things, but we want to say we're in a good fight for the time being. I think we're in a fight to go for podiums potentially and good points. I don't think we have the confidence, and we just realistic. We can't fight for wins at the minute, and that's something we're trying to fight for.
And how are you feeling about your own performance this year? Are you happier in the car than you were at this stage last year, or even if the car's not as performant as last year's? Because you're doing pretty, compared to Oscar, you're probably ahead generally in terms of absolute pace, even if it's only marginal.
No, I've been very happy. I think like Red Bull Ring, I was happy. I was just at a pretty poor lap one, and that was basically it. And then it was hard to overtake from there. So honestly, my performances, I feel like this year have been on average better than last season. It's still an incredibly, I still find it a very complicated car to drive and difficult to understand session in, session out, like what is needed every single track, corner, setup, like what is needed to really get everything out of this car. So we're still struggling. I think we're struggling as a pair of drivers to understand that completely. But I feel like I've had a better start to the year than last year. Last year, that meant, probably winning, like leading the championship or not. This year, it means being within 80 to 100 points, So it's not all about if you're doing a good job, you just get rewarded. That's not the case in Formula One. But I feel like I've had a decent start to the year, just moments where that gets taken away and therefore is not shown. But it's also hard to show the world that kind of thing. In Formula One, you've got to, and as a driver, sometimes a fifth can mean a win on a weekend for you. Like, a P3 in Barcelona felt like one of my best drives I've ever done, but it's a P3. So, it's all internal. It's all what do you know was the maximum you could achieve that weekend? And I feel like most weekends we've been getting the most out of it.
It's quite interesting looking at Formula One from the outside, comparing last year to this. Last year you started well and then had a bit of a dip and then came back. And this year, George Russell's having a very similar season in a way. Yep. Have you recognised that? Have you talked to him about it in any way? What do you make of that?
No, I've not really spoken. I've spoken little bits about how it feels in the car and a couple little things, but nothing much more personal than that. I think me and George are quite different in terms of personalities, and he's often more sneaky with things. I think I'm more just open with things.
You were certainly more open last year about your struggles than he has been until Monaco, for example.
And Kimi's been doing a very good job. Like, you also just have to give hats off to your teammate when he's doing a good job. Oscar did an amazing job at times last year. When he was beating me, I was like, I've done a bad job, and he's doing a good job. I'm not afraid to say when someone's doing a good job. Kimi's been doing an incredible job this season. At 19 years old, second year in Formula One, it's impressive what he's doing. He's also in Formula One for a reason, so I don't think it should be a surprise. But he's going up against George, and George is obviously having some ups and downs. He's certainly had more problems and issues and setbacks than what Kimi's had, and it's hard to overcome them at times, especially when you feel like you're on for a win or a pole, whatever it might have been. But he's a smart person. I think he understands what is needed. Personally from his own side, and therefore I'm confident that he can bounce back when he needs to.
Is it frustrating being world champion and not being able to defend the world championship so far?
Yeah. It is a little bit, but I also I've also always been just very realistic in chances into weekends and things. So it wasn't like I came into this year thinking we were going to win again. So. It's frustrating because, of course, when someone asks you and you go, I won last year or something, and how are you doing this year? And I go, well, no. Then you have to kind of explain the situation a little bit more. And, in most other sports, you kind of just get another opportunity that's equal in Formula One. And as for people who know Formula One know that you have your moments because you can have a car that's very strong and if it's not quite strong enough, you can at times still perform like Max did last year. And sometimes you can drive the best year of your life and never get rewarded in a way. So that's just the sport of Formula One. But so I understand it very well. I guess people on the outside don't understand it at times that well. But your times and your opportunities come and go. And I made the most of last year. And I would love if I could fight a bit more, especially with the different drivers, to fight against George and Kimi, to see like Lewis back up there fighting well. Like those are guys we didn't race against that much last season. So it would be nice. It would be nice to kind of get back up there. But I'm confident we will, so I'm not worried.
You showed a lot of faith in McLaren through the years leading up to your championship campaigns in 24 and 25. And obviously that paid off. Now you've had a bit of a dip. Do you still feel as committed to and as trusting in McLaren as you always did?
Yeah, 100%. And I think the thing that people don't realize is, I want to win races, and I certainly want to, win here and now, and I want to win in the future. And you got to think of both things in the world of Formula One. But I'll also at times choose happiness of place over maybe some unknown territory kind of thing, So there might be a year in Formula One where I'm just like, I'm very happy at McLaren. Like we might win, we might not. I'd rather stay here and enjoy, my years of McLaren than maybe choose to go somewhere else where I could have a better chance. But honestly, like I will go to it. I'll always try and go be at a team that I can win with. And for a lot of the time I've been with McLaren, I believed it could be McLaren. But for me, there's a fine line between just wanting to go out and win and also just wanting to be with people that I love to be with, a team that I love to be with, and fighting with them. And I fought with McLaren, since the beginning in a way. But it doesn't mean as soon as it's not going well, jump ship and go somewhere else. And I'm happy to stick it out another 2-3 years and fight with them to try to get back to winning again. So I'm not a guy that's just, okay, my opportunity here is gone, go somewhere else. I'll choose joy and happiness of place over just all-out potential of winning. And of course, I want McLaren to be both of those together. But there are years where I'll definitely pick just the fact I love McLaren over going somewhere else where I can maybe win.
Do you feel like you might be at McLaren for life?
Quite potentially. I'm not against it at all. I would love to be. I feel like I'm dedicated to them. They gave me my opportunity in the first place. We've won together. We want to win many more together. I don't know how long I'll be in Formula One, but it's certainly a possibility, and that's something I'm also excited for.
Now it's silly season at the moment, and you've probably seen there've been some stories around about McLaren and Max Verstappen. Do you know anything about that? And if it came to pass, and obviously Zach Brown said he wants to stick with you and Oscar Piastri for the foreseeable future, doesn't intend to change, would you welcome Verstappen as a teammate?
I welcome anyone as a teammate. Of course, I think Max is, alongside, Lewis and, like Fernando, world champions, I would say. He's alongside some of the best, and of course, you always want to try and prove yourself against the best. And the best way to prove yourself against the best is have them as your teammate. So I'm very open to anyone being my teammate, honestly. I would love, Max to be my teammate. I would love if Lewis was my teammate. I'd love Fernando was my teammate. But I also like Oscar as a teammate. I think he's honestly an unbelievable driver. I wouldn't say he's underrated in any way because I think people rate him very highly. So I think I have a very strong teammate that pushes me. There's always rumors. There's always things up in the air. But I know that we both have our names... I wouldn't say penned in at McLaren for much longer. So it's always funny seeing things come up when you're kind of like questioning how it's even possible. But you never know in the world of Formula One.
Yeah. Would he fit the McLaren philosophy? The way you approached last year's championship, for example? Even if it's a very academic question in the context of what you just said.
It would certainly be a different vibe for him. It will certainly be a different vibe. Formula One, Red Bull is, it's kind of parts of it. I think people saying teams are built around people is an over exaggerated thing. Cars being built around people is an over exaggerated thing. People just build the best cars that they can. You don't build around someone's comments necessarily, but philosophies and mentalities are certainly different between what Red Bull are and what we are. And there's certain things that he would not be able to do at McLaren that he feels like he can do in Red Bull. So we'll see maybe one day.
Now, I wanted to end the interview just to talk briefly about this year's cars and then the future.
Yeah.
Max made some comments about Silverstone and energy recovery at the last race. I'm sure you heard them. Being a bit concerned about how it was going to be. What do you know about that? And where do you think in terms of the contrast, the combination of driving enjoyment versus spectacle,
Sure.
where do you see Formula One this year, and what's planned for the next 2 years in terms of the
Sure.
change in the energy ratio of the engine?
Well, honestly, I don't think you could. I don't think you can say it's been a boring season. I don't think you can say that at all. I think it's actually been quite an exciting season from a spectator point of view. As a fan, I think you're looking at it and you're going, "It's pretty cool." You know, there's been some different winners. Red Bull look good, and other races, McLaren have looked good. The Mercedes drivers are going at it. Like, I would still say it's been quite an exciting year from the outside. I simply just think what we as drivers have complained about in the past, and maybe complain about at times into Silverstone and into the future races this year, is just how the cars are to drive. We're not complaining about from the outside perspective. We think it could be even better from an outside perspective and as a fan. But we want cars that you can push flat out in, and the more you push your throttle pedal, the faster you go. That's just not the case in Formula One nowadays, or this year. Certainly Silverstone is going to be an interesting one from an energy perspective.
Is it affecting the driving challenge of Silverstone as a pure driving challenge?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It will certainly be. It's a different challenge in some ways. It's certainly less of a challenge than it's been in the past, and it will be less of a challenge than it's been in the past.
So COPS, for example, won't be as challenging as it would have been because you're recovering energy through there, for example, maybe?
The battery starts to die before you go in and things like that. You'll still be going pretty damn quick, you know, so it's not going to look slow, but there are just certain points, and then it's slightly into Magnussen and Beckett's and things where you're not kind of consistently accelerating through the corner. You're starting to decelerate through the corner.
And is that going to change with these regulations that they're planning for 27 and 28?
It will certainly shift. I wouldn't
not
say
completely.
it's going to change completely. I think even if you accelerate 2 years, we're still going to be coming here and going, it's not as good as what it was last season. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be fun racing and cool to watch and all these things. And you're going to see battles for the lead and changes and good overtakes.
And is it still enjoyable for you, this new racing?
It's just different. I certainly, I think, I don't know, at times people hate change. People hated the halo and people hated this and that. You eventually get used to it and it becomes a new normality for you. But, simply like I just said, the comment of just the more I press my throttle pedal, the quicker I want to go. That should just be it. That should be a fact. This year it's not a fact, and for me that's not how Formula One should be.
And last year was like that. You could do that with the engines last year.
You could, easily. There was, of course,
so it's not a question
we're
of
talking
hybrid
a
versus
couple
no
percent
hybrid.
here and there difference. Whereas this year, you're talking, massive differences.
So the key thing is not hybrid versus not hybrid. It's about the energy balance in the engine between electrical and internal combustion. Basically.
You could change it easily with the ones we have now and just turn down the power of battery, but then acceleration would be much less. So, what makes it at times more exciting this year is the cars are more of a handful because you've got more power coming in. The top speeds can be much higher. The battery just dies too quickly, and on a track in Silverstone where you're full throttle it must be one of the highest full throttle circuits of the year. You run out of battery very, very quickly. So you're in a pretty complicated place. But the next 2 years of regulation will shift things in the right direction. Hopefully, after that, it can take a bigger step in the right direction, which is more, honestly, for me, more back to how it was many years ago, which is maybe slightly different engines, less hybrid. I think you're always going to have hybrid because a certain amount of battery also helps with the turbo and all of these things in shifts and stuff like that.
Overtaking as well with the...
And overtaking, where you have a little kind of push to pass and stuff, so you can certainly have an amount in there which can help aid in moments, but not be completely reliant upon. And at the minute, we're kind of completely reliant upon the battery working when it should and pretty much regenerating when it should. And as soon as that starts to go a little bit haywire, then it becomes quite interesting.
Okay, final question. Can you win this weekend?
We can win this weekend. We'll need a hell of a lot of luck, and we need other people to do very well. But considering we're not miles away, I'd never want to rule it out, especially in my home race. So it'll be an incredible challenge, but we're up for it. So I want to say yes.
All right. Thanks very much, Lando.
Thanks very much, Frank. Cheers.
That was your reigning world champion, Lando Norris, speaking with the BBC's F1 correspondent, Andrew Benson. On Friday, we'll have a full preview of the British Grand Prix for you. That'll be after sprint qualifying. There's so much to look forward to this weekend with 5 British drivers on the grid. It's going to be a big weekend for them. This has been an IMG production for BBC Radio 5 Live.